Welcome to Food Friends, a podcast inspiring home cooks to try new dishes in the kitchen by sharing trusted recipes, tips, and friendship. Hi, I'm Sonia.
And I'm Carrie. We met in Los Angeles over 15 years ago as personal chefs and haven't stopped talking about food since. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Sonia.
I don't know about you, Carrie, but I'm a big afternoon snack person.
You know, I really love an afternoon snack, but I feel like I've sort of fallen into a rut with my snacks. I used to be a lot more creative when I was a personal chef, and definitely there was a time when I was a nanny and I really got super creative with snacks. But I think now as a mom, I sort of rely on all the same things. I'm kind of looking for a little guidance in this conversation.
Yeah, it's like as much as I try to actually skip snack time, I don't know, I just get hungry at like 3:30 or 4 every day no matter what. So, I'm like you too. I rely on the same things over and over, and I think it could be more exciting and maybe even more healthful or just more fun. I just think there's always room for more snacks in our life.
And I think even just taking a little bit of time to think about it and think about great ideas I've had in the past or ideas that work, but we can also tweak them. So I'm going to let you start.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think chips are such a go-to for snack time, but obviously most chips aren't that healthy. So we've talked about like homemade potato chips and all that, but I actually at some point found this recipe for Cool Ranch zucchini chips, which
You mean like a chip made out of zucchini?
it's a chip made out of zucchini and then you season it with cool ranch flavors. So you could either literally take ranch packets, and I think even like at one point Trader Joe's had a ranch spice blend, or you could use your own mix of ranchy spices like garlic powder, dill, onion powder, those kinds of things, paprika
Right.
sometimes. But there's some technique to it. So there's a couple different recipes I've played with over the years because I love just more vegetables in any form, especially when zucchinis come into season. I just feel like there's never enough zucchini recipes to deal with zucchinis, right?
No, I agree with you. I love having more zucchini recipes, but I'm a little bit like, how do you make a zucchini crispy? I need to be sold on this idea. I love the ranch idea.
So, in the actual Cool Ranch zucchini chip recipe, as opposed to other zucchini chips, what they tell you is the technique is to almost be like dehydrating your zucchini. So, it's a low
Oh,
and slow cook. So, this is not a quick snack. This is sort of like a make ahead or when you have time or a weekend snack. But it is a fun way to use up zucchini. So, you're slicing it really thin on a mandolin. You're salting it. And this is true however temperature you're baking it. You want to slice it thin, you want to salt it. And this is the annoying part. You want to let it sit for 15 minutes because you want that water to get drawn out. And then you pat the zucchini dry, put it on a sheet pan, drizzle it with oil. So you can either use the method of low and slow, which will get it crispier because that will be more like dehydrating. Or if you're impatient, which sometimes I am, you can do the hot and fast method of like 425, 450. It will still get charred and crisped. It won't be chip crisp,
or
but
is
a little
there's not the same
softer.
starch.
No, but
Right.
you still then after it's cooked in either in preparation, that's when you want to add all your flavoring spices. So you don't want them to get burnt in the oven, and it will also be more flavorful. And in the vegetable chip category, I just have to name this other thing that I haven't yet tried, but I've kind of been really dying to try after I saw a video of it somewhere on social media, which people are making chips out of their vegetable peels.
What
So
kind of
like
vegetable peels?
I saw a British woman, I wish I could remember and credit her. She was making mashed potatoes for which you peel your potatoes, like
Right.
russet potatoes. And she had this pile of potato peels. And she's like, do not throw these out. There's tons of vitamins and minerals. And all you have to do is toss them in oil, salt, and pepper, and stick them on a baking sheet. And again, at like 425, 450, roast them off until they crisp up. They looked so puffed up and crispy. And it turns out you can do this with sweet potato peels, carrot peels, and I kind of love that.
I really love these takes on what I think is such a classic snack, a potato chip. I love the idea that you're sharing about the zucchini chips, which is don't treat them like a potato. They don't have the same starch in them. So to cook them low and slow. But when I think about chips, I also think about bagel chips. When I started thinking about ideas, it reminded me of this place I grew up near. It was called Locks, Stock, and Bagel. And it
Wait,
was
wait, wait. In Illinois, in the middle
it
of Illinois,
in
you
the
had a
middle of
lock, stock, and
Illinois.
bagel?
Lock, Stock, and Bagel, and they had great bagels and spreads, but they also had really good soup. So what I loved about it is I could get a cup of soup, and then it would come with bagel chips that you could put into your soup. And then I could also get a toasted bagel, and they had veggie cream cheese. You know what I'm saying when I say veggie cream cheese, right?
Can I just say that veggie cream cheese is my favorite kind of schmear of all the
Oh,
flavored cream cheeses? The confetti like color, the
yes.
flavors. We used to make it at our deli, and because I wanted it in the schmear rotation because it's so delicious.
Because it's so delicious. Well, this restaurant was not in my town. It was a place that we had to travel to. And so, when we discovered how much we loved bagels and especially veggie cream cheese, we would make it at home. It's a pretty easy process. I think the only key is to make sure that your veggies are very finely cut up. And we would use all the sweet peppers, which my mom and sister and I really loved. And we would even use like a little bit of celery. We did not use scallion. I would be putting scallion in mine because I like that flavor, but we would even put up very finely chopped broccoli.
What about carrots? Because I feel like it has to have a little
Oh,
carrot.
yeah, carrot is good too. I don't know that we would put carrots in
Huh.
ours. We would usually put like an orange pepper for that
Oh,
color.
okay, for that color, because you want the rainbow effect, kind
Yeah,
of.
you want the rainbow effect. And a bagel chip is how you make a pita chip, is how you make a toasted crostini. It's the same. You just cut them thinly, toss them with a little bit of olive oil and salt, and bake them in the oven until they're toasty. But also, if you have plain leftover bagels that are sad, you can also toss them in like everything bagel seasoning, which is truly my favorite bagel flavor.
I love bagel chips, and actually, I also grew up with a lot of bagel chips. My grandmother would make them, although they were called sukhariki, that's what she would say in Russian,
Oh
because
my gosh.
toasted bread and bagels is a very, very common treat in Ukraine and the former Soviet Union. And it's a little different than the bagel chip because it's just like a little crunchier. She would essentially do what I described with the zucchini chips, where she would almost dehydrate the bagel. But
Yeah.
I love what you're talking about, which is like slice it really thin, toss it in some oil, put it on a baking sheet, hot, get it browned and toasty, like at a 400, 425. She would do no oil whatsoever, sliced thin till it became hard as a rock,
Like
but
really dried out
dry,
though.
yeah, but so good, so addictively good.
I also think if you're putting that into a soup, what I
Yes.
don't like is when it just gets mushy. And so I love when it retains its texture.
Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled you reminded me about bagel chips and veggie cream cheese. I feel like I immediately need to make some.
So, one of the things that we would often do with veggie cream cheese, if we had some in our fridge, is that we would spread it on flour tortillas and roll it up into a pinwheel, which I feel like is such a fun way to kind of have a sandwich. It's a great thing to put into a lunchbox. It's a great afternoon snack, especially if you're going to go maybe to the park or have a picnic or something like that. I feel like pinwheels are a great place to explore other flavors too.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about pinwheels when we were preparing for this because I actually love like a turkey avocado pinwheel. And I
Ooh.
feel like you can call it pinwheel or you can call it someone I've heard it called like some kind of sushi, like tortilla sushi, or there was some other fun word. And you see them in all these different flavors, like peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and banana. Cause then you take the peanut butter, spread it across the tortilla, put a whole banana into the tortilla, roll it up, and then slice it into rounds, and each little tortilla has a round of banana, which I just think is really cute. And you could drizzle that with honey. I think it gets at how can you have fun with extremely simple ingredients?
Yeah.
If you're going to have a quesadilla or you're going to have some turkey and cheese as snack, why not roll it up in a tortilla, slice it up, and make it fun?
One of the things that my dad would make for us is he would chop up ham really thinly. And you could do like ham and cheese and a little bit of cream cheese. You kind of want that creaminess because you want it to stick together. I saw a vegan version where you use a little bit of pesto and chopped red peppers, which you could use from a jar, like the
The
marinated peppers,
roasted. Oh,
roasted
okay.
marinated peppers. And also you can stuff it with arugula and some olives. That sounded so good to me.
It does sound good. I'm going to take us in a little bit of a different direction. I promise I will share some easy snack ideas, but this one is another one that just takes a couple steps, but I think the steps are worth it. So, again, at the deli, we often had in the deli case beet pickled deviled eggs.
Oh, wow. I've never done that before.
But you've seen them, right? It's like
Yes.
magenta on the outside and then white in the center, and then it's like a deviled egg filling. And there are some tips to this that I think can help because people sometimes make it at home and sometimes things turn too pink or not pink enough. So it's really just like making any deviled eggs. You boil your eggs. That's the first step. You peel your eggs, but then you're going to brine them and you're going to make it like a pickle brine, a quick pickle brine. And you could do this in a couple easy ways. The easiest way is you could literally buy pickled beets and use that liquid from pickled beets as your brine. You can just stick your eggs in that and do almost
And it will color
nothing.
them.
It will color them. And you don't
Right.
want it to go too long. People will say you can do it for up to 3 days. I find that after 20 hours, it starts getting too pink. You don't want pink egg yolks. It's weird. You want just
Right.
that outer edge to turn pink and stay kind of white and yellow in the center. The other way is that you can make your own brine and also not that hard. It's water, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a sliced beet. And you bring that to a boil pretty quick. And then you add your boiled eggs that are peeled to that brine. You let it cool and you stick it in the fridge for 12 to 16 hours. And then when you want to make deviled eggs, you slice it, you scoop out the yolks, you make a dressing.
Yeah, whatever you want your deviled egg to taste like. But I think this goes back to the idea of things that are really simple and easy, but to make them special and just to take that extra little step, which is really all about like taking your eggs that you've already cooked and putting them in a little bit of this really beautiful liquid. That to me is something that I think would encourage, for instance, my son to try a deviled egg.
And I feel like with eggs being as precious as they are here in the States right
Yes.
now, it's like giving them a little bit of a special treatment, whether that's for upcoming spring holidays or entertaining. Of course, this is like a little extra just for an afternoon snack, but I also feel like we deserve that too, especially if eggs are just a little more special right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sonia, I have another really fun idea that I came across, and I've never done this before, but it really makes total sense. I saw a recipe for, you know what boursin cheese is, which is
Oh
like the
yeah,
herby.
we
We
love
both
Boursin.
love boursin cheese. So you fill sweet peppers with boursin cheese, and then you bake them in the oven, and then you broil them so they get a little bit crispy on the top. And you could use pieces of a larger pepper, but the most fun way to do it is to use those, you know, those little mini peppers that they have. They sell them in a bag at Trader Joe's. Obviously, you can buy them in the summer, but they're often called like lipstick peppers, which is,
Really?
I think, yeah, I've seen them called lipstick peppers, which I think
Oh.
is really a cute name. And so you cut it in half, you take out the seeds, you toss it with a little bit of olive oil, which helps when you cook it to crisp it a little bit. And then you put Boursin cheese in it and bake it in the oven for 20 minutes until it's warm and melty. And then you add a little bit of some kind of melty cheese on top, like a little bit of
Oh.
cheddar or a little bit of Monterey Jack or even just mozzarella. And then you broil it. So you get a little bit of that texture on top. Instead of it just being this soft pepper with soft cheese, you get this kind of crispy top on it. It doesn't take long, but what a special afternoon snack.
I love that. I have stuffed little peppers with goat cheese before, softened goat
Yes,
cheese
I
with herbs.
forgot about yes, it's the
I've
same
never
idea.
It's the same idea, but I've never done it where I put it in the oven and add more cheese and broil it. I love that, like, extra step. Boursin is so garlicky and salty and herby. I feel like that's why it's even better than just a plain goat cheese. But I would it's weird they say to cut it in half. I My instinct would be, like, cut off the top, scoop out any seeds, stuff it, and then put the little top back on for decoration.
Yeah, you could do that, but this gives you, like, more ratio of cheese to pepper, which I kind of love.
Because it's you're filling the halves and
You're
you're
filling
leaving
the
them
halves.
open. Now I get it. All right, I love that though, because I feel like having vegetables be a little more fun is such a great idea for snack time.
Yeah, and what I also love about this recipe, if you have teenagers or even just older kids that could cut a pepper in half, this is a snack that they can make. You don't have to even turn on your oven. You can use this in your toaster oven, or if you have an air fryer or something like that. That's an easy way to kind of pop out this really great idea. And this is like a make ahead and pull it out later and right when you're
You
ready to
could
cook it.
reheat it. Oh, you
Yeah.
could top it with cheese and cook it at the last minute. You could assemble
Yeah.
the little that's smart. And of course, an air fryer is a toaster oven, or a toaster oven is an air fryer. So,
Yes.
same technology. So, either one will work, and I love that. Okay, well, I have an easy one for you. Going back to
Okay.
chips for a second. I've been actually dying to talk to you about this since I saw it go viral on TikTok. It went viral a few months ago. It's not new. But, Carrie, have you ever heard of Chippy Boys?
No, I have not. Wait, did you just say Chippy Boys?
Isn't that the most fun title of a food ever, Chippy Boys? Doesn't that make you wanna
Totally.
eat whatever it is?
Whatever it
But I
is,
said,
I'm in.
"Hey, Carrie, come over, have some Chippy Boys."
I love it. Okay, I have to know what Chippy Boys are. I mean, I love chips.
Okay, so I believe it was invented by a woman, or at least she popularized it. And so what it is very simple. She took a bag of kettle chips, specifically Miss Vickie's brand kettle chips. Do you like Miss Vickie's?
I do like those are super crispy.
Very crispy.
Yes.
I like Tim's Cascade here in the Northwest. Those are my favorite kettle chips. There's different ones all over the country. But anyway, take a good kettle chip that you can get access to, and then you're gonna die. And then you crumble gorgonzola over it,
What?
and yes, and you bake it or broil it at a really high temperature just for a few minutes to kind of get everything hot, toasty, and melty. And then when it comes out, you drizzle it with balsamic glaze.
What? That's insane. It's like a
It's
blue
like a
cheese
weird
nacho.
nacho.
It's a weird nacho. Wow. My mind is blown.
Yeah, and she says blue cheese or gorgonzola is the best and the preference, but if you don't like that funky flavor, people recommend goat cheese or feta. But the idea is a salty, soft cheese, kettle cooked plain potato chips, obviously not flavored potato chips, and balsamic glaze, reduced balsamic vinegar. And that
Wow.
combination of very salty,
Crunchy,
creamy,
crunchy.
sweet. I think it makes sense. I don't think it's that weird. And I think it sounds so delicious, especially as a late night snack. Definitely an afternoon snack that'd be fun if you had some
Right.
friends over and maybe a little glass of wine. But also like you can imagine like a late night starving, I want
Oh,
a
yeah.
weird kind of food craving.
I can imagine it. This is also where I might reveal one of my things that I don't like to eat, which is I feel mixed about blue cheese. I feel
I
like
knew it. I knew it was coming.
it's one of those that I'm kind of like, if I can avoid it, I do.
It's always a revelation. But do you like blue cheese dressing?
I do. I'll have blue cheese dressing. If it comes with wings, I'll
That's what I was
definitely
gonna
but
yeah.
if I have a choice, which now I usually do, to get ranch, that's what I would get instead.
Carrie dropping the revelations
I
every
know.
episode. I love it. I love it. Well,
Well,
maybe Chippy Boys is not for you, or you have to try a variation that doesn't involve blue cheese. I'm not saying it's for everyone. I just think it's fun. It went so viral. People were making it for weeks on end. Everyone is posting videos of their Chippy Boys. Everyone was having so much joy.
no,
Yeah.
and I love it. I love the joy of it, and also I'll try anything once. So maybe I'll get like a round of Boursin and try it that way, and I'll get a little bit of blue cheese and I'll try it that way. Well, I'm going to take us in a different direction, and it's unexpected in a expected place. So I think an afternoon snack, especially for hungry kids, a lot of parents will turn to an English muffin pizza or a bagel pizza. That's a fun thing to make, especially if you have, a bunch of kids over at your house. But I came across this recipe for a polenta bite pizza. And what the recipe calls for is you buy one of those tubes of polenta, which you can get at any grocery store, including Trader Joe's. It's a roll, and you slice it and you toss it you add a little bit of olive oil. You broil it in the oven to kind of create a little bit of texture. And then you just top it like you would any pizza with whatever toppings that you like. Use your marinara or your pizza sauce, a little bit of any kind of cheese that you like. If you wanted to do some vegetables or sausage or pepperoni, this is another one of those things that I think you could involve if you have kids in your life or if you just have some friends over. This would be a really fun afternoon snack.
I love anything in pizza form, as you know, we both do. That tube of polenta is underutilized. When I was working on one of, I don't know, some project years ago, the chef on this show, she was making polenta fries, which had like a moment. They were sort
Oh,
of
yeah.
popular, but it's the same thing. Get the tube of polenta, cut it into fry shapes, toss it in some oil and grated parm and bake it, and you have a kind of fry. And I feel like this is so similar. It's like You toast up those little rounds of polenta, and then you can top them with whatever you want and just get it melty again. And it just mixes it up. It makes it a little different.
Polenta is gluten free. If you're also
Yeah.
trying to attend to your own dietary restrictions or someone is coming to your house, this is a great way to have something that's fun and also feels inclusive. I think as a parent and also as someone who cooked for a lot of families when I was a personal chef, I think this is also a way to introduce kids to other flavors in a vessel that is similar that they know. That sort of polenta corn flavor is kind of showing kids like, look, this is pizza adjacent.
Yeah, it's really, I love this idea. I'm going to take us in a direction we love to go in, which is beans. Beans can
Love beans.
appear at snack time too. One of the people who's doing really interesting things with bean recipes is Justine Duran, who has the site Justine Snacks, who we've had on the show, who does a lot of plant forward cooking. So she's using a lot of beans often. And she has this recipe for breaded beans that I think is so smart. It's so delicious. So it's
I
just,
totally missed this recipe.
well, how can you get, I mean, there's so many recipes in the
Yes,
world.
yes.
I think it's easy to miss some. But I don't know when this is from. I think it might be from a while back, but what she does, she recommends any bean. You can use any canned bean. She loves butter beans. I think butter beans are super hard to find. So I think a cannellini would work here. I think a lima bean would even be good here, interestingly enough, just so that it's like flatter,
Okay.
bigger. So you drain your beans and then you toss them with a little bit of flour. I'm sure you could use gluten-free flour in its place, nutritional yeast, and
Love
and some spices and a little bit of oil. You toss that all, you put it on a baking sheet and you brown it until crispy. You just stick it in the oven. And she even has really great notes in the recipe. It's like some of your bean shells will become loosened from the bean. Don't worry, like embrace those pockets and they'll embrace you. And I think it's kind of this idea of some of the beans turn out really uniformly toasted and some get a little puffed up and separate and there's different textures, and it's kind of in place of roasted chickpeas. It's something a little different. It's a little bit more hearty. It has a little bit more texture to it than just a roasted bean on its own. And then it's also sort of like, to me, a play on popcorn. If you're not in the mood for popcorn or you want something that has a little more protein, just seems so easy with a can of beans that you could just have this thrown together.
I think that this would also, if you were really craving chips and you didn't have any in your house, this would be something that you could make that also feels a little extra special. I love the idea that you brought forward of have some friends over in the afternoon, have a little glass of wine. This like salty, crunchy, sort of protein heavy snack is a great idea.
I could see you making a really amazing version, better than what I'll think of. I could see a Carrie twist on this.
I could see myself getting really into this idea and making it a lot. I think I would eat something like this for lunch.
On a salad, it would be really good. It could be even wrapped up into a pinwheel with some other spread.
I mean, look at you with all your great ideas. I love this so much. Well, Sonia, I'm going to take us in another direction, and you know this very well. I am a person who really loves a donut.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a donut is a fun afternoon snack, not exactly the healthiest, but I came across this really cool recipe for apple donuts. And by apple donuts, I mean an apple that is sliced sort of through its equator, and then you put toppings on it, and they look like little donuts with donut holes. I love that the recipe kind of calls for like red apples and green apples because it kind of makes it really cute and fun. You slice the top off the apple and you slice the bottom off. You want them in like a thick half inch. Once you get your apple sliced, of course, then you have the middle. You want to use like a paring knife, or even they suggest using like a tiny biscuit cutter to make the apple hole in the middle so it looks like a donut hole. And then you can put different kinds of spreads on. My mind immediately goes to something like peanut butter or Nutella, but also a flavored Greek yogurt, like a strawberry Greek yogurt or passion fruit. And then you could put mini chocolate chips, little pieces of fruit like strawberries, Nutella and strawberry. As a parent, I think like, oh, this would be a fun thing to do with kids where I would slice all the apples and then let everybody make their own combinations.
Yeah, it's a great rebranding of apple slices. It's
Yes.
like, how can you take an apple slice and make it a little more exciting? I think that's a lot of what we're talking about today. I really like having an apple core. I've had it now for 15, 16 years. I love having it. It takes out the core of an apple. It's great for making pies and crumbles and apple donuts. But yes, you could use a little cookie cutter. That makes sense, or even a knife.
Yeah, and there was one tip that I forgot that I think actually really makes a difference is that whatever spread you're using, whether it's yogurt or Nutella or peanut butter, that if you put it into a bag and pipe it, it actually looks a lot more like it just looks better. And I think if you're again, if I was doing this with kids, I think that also makes it more fun, right? And it makes it easier.
I would
But I
never.
know,
I
I
I love
know.
that you would though, and I think you're right that if you had some kids over and you took it to that next level, it's going to engage even more and create even more steps and fun. I can't imagine piping something onto an apple ring. I just can't, but I'm excited for you to try and report
I
back.
mean, I'll just also say I find using an apple core to be one of the most insane experiences. I just can't it doesn't
You
ever
can't push
work.
it
I
down
just
into the
can't
center?
figure it out. It's never
Really?
it just makes me insane. And
Oh
so,
my gosh. And
will you
next time
show
you
me?
visit, I'm having you use my apple core. We're going to
Okay.
do a demo. I feel like, by the way, you don't need to have one. You can totally skip having one. But I feel like maybe you were led astray or you had a bad core or you had one of those. They used to have really janky ones back in the
Yeah.
80s. And we had one and I hated using it. Mine has like a handle at the top, almost like a wine a
So like
key.
a wine key. Yeah.
It works really easy.
Okay.
Again, do what makes you happy. On a sweet note, though, I also love a good high protein, no bake sweet. And there's all those kinds of like protein balls and nut butter balls and all that stuff. But there's this one recipe that I sometimes make during Passover too, because during Passover, I'm always looking for flour free, grain free desserts and dairy free often. So there's this no bake cookie dough bar, which again is just good branding for something that isn't really cookie
Yes.
dough at all. But it's almond flour with almond butter, with maple syrup, and a little bit of coconut sugar, which I also like if you're trying to avoid a lot of refined sugar. And then you mix that all together till it's sort of thick and paste like. And then you add in chocolate chips and you put that into a casserole dish or baking tin and you freeze it till it's just kind of firmed up. And then you melt some dark chocolate with a little bit of coconut oil, like you would, and you pour that over the top and you freeze it again just till it hardens up, which isn't that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then you can slice little bars and keep them in the fridge. And I don't think of this as cookie dough. I don't think of this as a pretend. I like it just for what it is. It's an
Right.
almondy, chocolatey maple snack. And so it's a little bit indulgent because it has that chocolate top and the chocolate chips, but it's really just almonds.
The idea of just melting the chocolate chips and then adding a little bit of coconut oil, it makes it glossy and beautiful and a little that crunchiness on top of it too is really
It's
nice.
not so crunchy though, I should say. It's
Okay.
more like it's a thicker layer. It's more fudgy. You really can sink your
But this
teeth
is
into it.
indulgent. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
indulgent. It's a nice sweet treat that also has a little bit of a healthy bend to it.
Yeah.
Well, Sonia, I have another really fun one. We all know what ants on a log are. Celery sticks filled with peanut butter. You add some raisins on top and it looks like ants on a log. But I found this article that had a bunch of different ideas kind of on a take on that. One is ants on a ranch, which is cream cheese mixed with like a little bit of powdered ranch dressing and then put peas on top. So you have ants on a ranch. Berries on a branch, which is you fill your celery with cookie butter and then you add blueberries on top, which is really cute.
Like Biscoff cookie spread, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or like there's that Trader Joe's like speculoos cookie,
The same idea, like any kind of cookie
any
butter.
kind of
Yeah.
cookie butter. I didn't grow up with cookie butter. I
Me
discovered that
either.
through Trader Joe's. And then put little blueberries on top and then ladybugs on a log, so a strawberry cream cheese with little dried cranberries on top, which is really cute. Beans on a stalk, fill with guacamole and add some black beans on top, which is very cute.
Can I tell you where my mind went when you said
So
beans on a stalk? I
what?
was picturing hummus in the center with little edamame beans on top.
Oh, that's a great idea. Well, by the way, there's also fish in a stream that uses hummus, and then you use the goldfish pretzels.
Oh, goldfish
Like
pretzels. Yeah,
the
that makes
pretzels
more
that are shaped like
sense.
goldfish. My favorite one is the last one, which is pigs in a pen, where you take pimento cheese, you stuff your celery with pimento cheese, which I really love that,
Yum.
and then you do some crumbled bacon on top. And I will say, back to where we started, when we had veggie cream cheese on hand, we would put it into celery sticks and just eat it for any kind of snack.
Veggie cream cheese really is kind of a game changer in my head. I've obviously made and served, but the fact that I haven't been making it all the time and putting in celery or stuffing little bell peppers with it or putting it in my tortilla pinwheel or even just with bagel chips, I love it. I'm truly going to have to make that this weekend.
Yeah, me too. Well, this has been really fun.
So fun. Happy snacking.
Happy snacking. Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for being our food friend.
If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with friends. We love hearing from you, so follow us on Instagram or drop us a line at foodfriendspodcast.com.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you and your food friends. Happy cooking and eating.